Go now to international diplomatic editor Nick Robertson, who's live in Geneva, where peace talks on the Syrian conflict are set to resume on Monday. Nick, US Secretary of State John Kerry is meeting with some European ministers and diplomats, but interestingly, there is no representative from Russia.
You know, interestingly as well, just a week or so ago, it was a similar situation in Paris, but it was Secretary Kerry, or at least even President Obama that wasn't present. President Putin met with some of these same European leaders. The conversation is all about Syria. You know, at the moment on Syria, the US and Russia are to a certain degree in step. Secretary Kerry and his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, are talking relatively frequently. They are the heads of the military task force that is designed to oversee the cessation of hostilities. So the fact that the Russians aren't present at that meeting in Paris, I think is an indication that there's a long way to go in this process. But it doesn't mean that that the process is damaged and can't get along. It is working at this stage. You know, what they're talking about in Paris at the moment is the talks that are coming up here, and no doubt what's going to be on the table is what could Plan B possibly look like if these talks fail. At the moment, there is some optimism about the talks, but that could all change in a matter of hours.
And at these talks in Geneva tomorrow, there are meant to be representatives from both the Syrian government and opposition. Is the biggest sticking point the future of the Assad regime?
It certainly looks like it. You might be able to argue the biggest sticking point is the semantics. The guiding framework is the UN Security Council resolution that says that there should be a transitional political process that leads to a new constitution and then elections that are overseen by the UN. Now, the UN Special Envoy here, Staffan de Mistura, just earlier in the week said that there would be parliamentary elections and presidential elections. Specifically in the UN Security Council resolution, that wasn't laid out. What the Syrian government has taken hold of there is the fact that they're saying, it's up to Syrians to decide the future of Syria. Of course, that's what the UN continues to say. That's what the opposition says, that the future of Syria lies in the hands of the Syrian people. But of course, the opposition has said there can be no future with President Bashar al-Assad. So there is room for maneuver, if you will, in the space that the language of the UN resolution has created. But the reality is that is a big sticking point, and that will be up to the UN Special Envoy Staffan de Mistura. In his proximity talks, these two sides aren't going to be sitting in the same room together to shuttle between the sides and narrow the differences. That, of course, is going to be the hardest one to narrow, certainly at this stage. Lynda?
OK, we will be watching those talks closely in Geneva. Nick Robertson, thank you very much.